Thank you all for coming. My name is Emily Kincaid. I represent the 20th District, so welcome to District 20, which includes Westview and Ross and areas of the city of Pittsburgh, Avalon, and Bellevue. Today is really important because we're headed into June 1st marks not just the beginning of Pride Month, but also the beginning of Budget Month for the legislature. And we have the ability right now to really do a lot of incredible good for Pennsylvanians. We have the money to be able to make generational investment in our communities, in Pennsylvanians, to help working families who are struggling as we are seeing record inflation, as we are coming out of a pandemic that really cratered a lot of people's personal savings. People are struggling right now, and they don't need to be, because we have so much money available between the money that was still waiting to be appropriated from the American Rescue Plan funds to the increased revenue that we have seen come time and time again, every quarter, that we have the ability to really help people. And so I'm incredibly grateful to have Governor Wolf here today to talk about his plan for how it is that we can help Pennsylvanians right now. We can be doing that work and so much more with this budget. And budgets are moral documents, and it absolutely says a lot about us as Pennsylvanians, as legislators, as elected officials, how we spend that money and who we actually invested in. So I am grateful to have Governor Wolf here to talk about his plan to give that money back to Pennsylvanians and get Pennsylvania back on track. So, Governor Wolf.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you very much. So, thank you, Emily. It's good to be here. This is your district, right?
It is.
And everybody knows Senator Williams, and Senator Costa is here, the minority leader in the state Senate. And Susan and Scott, thank you for having me here too. I really appreciate this. It is great to be here, and I just want to follow on what Representative Kincaid said. Pennsylvanians are struggling right now. Let's just start with that. Inflation is making everything that was expensive before even more expensive right now. The cost of a host of things, from gas to groceries, is going up. And that's just creating a real inconvenience for everybody. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck, that's more than just an inconvenience. That could be dire. Could mean that you make some very painful decisions, like having to choose between next week's food or paying next month's rent. Those are decisions people shouldn't have to make. We all see the pain, that pain in communities all across Pennsylvania. So I think what we need to do is talk about solutions. Pennsylvania is sitting on billions of dollars in COVID-19 relief money right now. And I'm not talking about the rainy day fund. I'm not talking about the surplus that Pennsylvania is enjoying right now. I was saying the month of May just ended yesterday, and we actually had $400 million in excess revenues came in just in 1 month. We're going to have a $5 billion surplus just in revenues. And then there's some one-time things that we'll see that'll make that even higher. We have the money. But I'm not talking about that money. I'm talking about $2 billion that's sitting in a checking account out in Harrisburg, that if we don't use it by the end of 2024, we have to send it back to Washington. You want to do that? I don't. I don't. So this is really important. People need this money right now. They don't need it next week, next month, next year. They need it now. And I think there are some people who say maybe we ought to just sit on that money. Well, I don't think we should. I think we ought to actually help Pennsylvanians, because that's what the money is for, and that's what we ought to use it for. So what I'm calling for is I want to put $2,000 in the pockets of Pennsylvanians to help offset the higher costs of groceries, of gas, of everything else. Under my plan, Pennsylvania households earning $80,000 or less will get up to $2,000, and they can use that money for whatever they want, whether that's groceries, gas, rent, child care, or anything else I haven't thought about that's creating hardship for them right now. That $2,000, it's not something that we ought to be talking about next year, next month. Again, right now, they need that money, and we have it. This is about getting money into the hands of people who need it. I want to put $500 million of that $2.2 billion into people's hands right now. And it's about getting hard-working Pennsylvanians and families back on their feet. This would be really helpful. Instead of just scraping by day after day, month after month, this is what we need for our families. And we need it right now. And if we do it right now, it's going to keep our economy strong. The fact is, when families aren't struggling to get by, they don't rely as much on the social safety net. That means the stuff that taxpayer money funds in Harrisburg, we don't use as much of that. And when Pennsylvanians have a little extra money in the bank, they spend it on local businesses. They invest in homes. They give back to their communities, like this organization. This plan is good for families. It's good for children. It's also good for workers and businesses, for our economy. In fact, I can't think of anybody this is bad for. I'm not sure. We need to take action now to get this by. I mean, think about this. This is something that doesn't cost anybody anything. I'm not talking about raising any taxes at all, not a penny. We have the money. Let's just spend it. And the bill to do this has already been introduced in the General Assembly, and I want to thank Representative Kincaid, Senator Williams, and all of their Democratic colleagues for standing with me on this. We had a press conference a few months ago and talked about this. And I think what we said then, and we still say, is this is our proposal. It's for spending this $2.2 billion. If you have other ideas, we're all ears. The only thing we're saying is let's not wait. Let's do it now. Let's make sure this gets into the hands of the people who need it right now. Let's not wait. And certainly, let's not send it back to Washington in 2 years. We need to stand with the people of Pennsylvania. So I'm saying here, in a very nonpartisan way, to the Republican leaders in the General Assembly, let's pass this bill now. You got other ideas? Again, we're all ears, because we need this right now. Pennsylvanians cannot afford to wait. We need to act. So thank you. And now I want to turn this over to Susan Scott, who can maybe talk a little bit about how she thinks this might help her. Susan, where are you? There.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you. Welcome to the Westview Hub. This is the place that saves people one person at a time. The Hub meets people in whatever state of need they are in for the absolutely unbelievable cost of free. Your need is a library book? Look around you. It's beautiful. You need internet? Free Wi-Fi. There's even a bank of laptops over here for your use. Say you're a senior who needs to learn how to use that laptop. Come to the Hub for 4 classes and go home with your own laptop. Did I say it was free? You need a wholesome way to begin your weekend. Come to the Hub Saturday mornings for games, Legos, chess, you name it. Sit with your friends, your neighbors, and enjoy this wonderful community resource. Say your need is food. Come to the Hub Tuesdays or Thursdays. Have that food lovingly carried to your car by a neighbor for a few moments of genuine human connection. I love how the Hub handles their food distribution. There's no loss of dignity. You don't have to say that you're poor. There's just genuine concern. After 47 years of working and foolishly believing I had no such needs, I was about to learn a hard lesson. I spent a lifetime building a lovely middle-class life, beautiful home right here in this neighborhood. I had so much margin, I even adopted 3 baby boys from the Pennsylvania foster care system. I had a wonderful life. And a few years ago, I became disabled. In an instant, that life was gone. We cut every luxury. We downsized the car. We did everything we could, but still, week after week, the panic was setting in. And one day, I was driving down this road, and I saw a bit of a commotion right here. I pulled in. I watched. I wondered. I watched so long, Scott wondered if I was stalking the place. He said to me, "Do you need help?" And I did. That first food distribution eased our family's budget $50 that month. Alleluia, cue the angels. I was saved. That's what I mean. This Hub saves people one at a time. Remember those 3 boys I mentioned? They had a need. During the pandemic, remote learning did not mesh with their abilities at all. Their grades tanked. But enter the Hub's past the class tutoring. Miracle, they actually passed the class, just like the title promised. Professional tutoring would have been so far out of my reach, it's inconceivable. The boys would have been stuck with me 24/7, and that is less than optimal for all of us. I found the hub, and in the hub, I found family. I found a home. Could there be a better blessing? Well, maybe. If the governor succeeds in giving every eligible family a check for $2,000, indeed that would be a major blessing. That is 2 months' rent. That is getting your car fixed and inspected. That is repairing a broken appliance. That is choices. At this point, that's even a few tanks of gas. But wait, hold some of that gas money back to go vote in November. Because even though our governor has given his full measure of duty, I think he still cares who takes the seat next. But really what it means more than anything else is that your governor cares for you. Your government cares for you. You are not alone. And for that moment, your needs are met. And so now it's my great privilege to introduce the Executive Director of the Westview Hub, Mr. Scott Pavlot.
That's a hard act to follow. So good morning, my name is Scott Pavlot, and I'm the founder and executive director of the Westview Hub. I'd like to welcome you this morning to the Hub, and especially thank Governor Wolf and Emily Kincaid and Susan for their kind words and being here today to make this event possible. You know, the Hub was created in order to help this community regain and retain its vibrancy by providing it with a community library that you see here, something that Westview's needed for years. We use the term hub, and we think of the hub on a bicycle wheel with spokes that go out and support the wheel. In our case, the spokes are the offerings that we have, the services and the programs, and the wheel is the community. In addition to providing traditional library services, our key offerings fall into several critical areas, including improving academic outcomes, addressing food insecurity. We had a little pantry in the back that was servicing 15 to 25 individuals per week. Today we have 492 families on our rolls for the food pantry, and we took over a space next door. It was a bakery that had gone out of business. So we have a full-time bakery. We have a contract with Whole Foods. We get the food and the products that they pull from their shelves twice a week. And we pick those up in a van that we receive from the state of Pennsylvania through a grant, and we have refrigeration that we receive, so we're thankful for that as well. We work on providing access to technology. The estimate is that 30 to 35% of residents here don't have computers. That's what it was when we built the hub. I don't know what it is today. But we put in a bank of computers, and as Susan mentioned, they're free. We have print services, we have free Wi-Fi, kind of an internet cafe type thing. And we're also looking at putting in programs to address or help children that live with adverse childhood experiences in the home. This can include stress from the COVID lockdowns, can also include addiction in the household. In this area, in Allegheny County, 1 in 8 children live with addiction in the home. Psychologists have found that putting in what they would call a secondary support system is the key to helping mitigate the negative effects of these adverse conditions that the children live with. They have also found that participation in the arts has a profound positive impact. So we're actually building an immersive art center where we're going to have theater, we're going to have art classes, even a school of rock, fingers crossed, for the children in this area. And it should really be something to see. It actually could evolve into a second hub at some point. We don't know. But all of this is accomplished by working very closely with our numerous partners. We have North Hills Cares, North Hills Community Outreach. We have churches, Berkeley Hills Lutheran Church, a church I've gone to since I was 4 years old, which I say now I've been there about 22 years, and has been instrumental. We received a grant through the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America to get our start. A lot of volunteers came forward to help with the build out and continue to help today with the staff. And the bottom line is, we partner with the school district, with the Westview Borough, the local police, local businesses. It is a community, and what we do is we try to live up to that concept of being the hub. If there's a need, we try to anticipate it and address it. And it gives us a lot of flexibility. You know, we're able to just move back and forth a lot. So that being said, we also rely on a wonderful staff and wonderful volunteers. If you look around, you'll see a lot of blue shirts. You'll see a lot of hats. We call these hubcaps. And this is just a subset of our volunteer base that helps out with the hub. It really does take a village, and we're very, very thankful. We could not exist without the help and the wonder of the volunteers and the staff that we have here and our partners. So that being said, that's the story of the hub. We're very thankful that you're here and thankful, you know, for your time and presence and your kind words, and look forward to moving forward. And if there's anything we can ever do for you, if you have any ideas on what the hub can be doing to bring about more change or more positive impact, we're always open for ideas, and we welcome anybody that wants to get involved. So thank you for your time. Thank you, Governor Wolf.
Introduce Senator Williams.
Senator Williams is next.
Yep.
I wasn't briefed.
That's okay. It's okay. Neither was I. Hi, everyone. I'm Senator Lindsay Williams. I represent the 38th Senate District, which includes the North Hills, parts of the city of Pittsburgh, and right here in Westview. In fact, I am a proud Westview resident. I live a few blocks from here. I could have walked here, but it was a little too hot. But I'm really excited to be here in Westview Hub talking about this program. Thank you, Governor, for coming to Westview. And as Scott and Susan talked about, there's just so much need in our community, and the Westview Hub has amazing programs that connect people and help get them the services they need. But it's not enough, especially right now with rising costs of inflation, and everybody's feeling it. I was at Hampton High School last week talking to 2 government classes, and the students asked me, as a state senator, what are you doing to address inflation? And that's a complicated question. And here's one of the answers. You know, cash payments to help people with exactly what they need. And we do, as the governor said, we have the money. We have billions of dollars that could go into the hands of our neighbors who are struggling with high utility costs, gas prices, all sorts of things. There's a number of proposals to spend the ARP dollars. There's mine on sewer infrastructure. There's a lot of my residents who have trouble when it rains. There's this program that we're here to talk about today. And there's any way to spend this money, but we need to spend it to help people who are struggling right now. So thank you for having me here today, and I really hope that we can actually get this done with the work of Rep. Kincaid and Governor Wolf and my colleagues, get this across the finish line into the governor's desk before the end of June. So thank you, and I'll turn it back to the governor for questions.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you, Senator Williams. Thank you, Representative Kincaid and Scott. And where does Susan go? Well, you don't want to be seen with this? Is that the issue? I think this is really impressive. I mean, it's a wonderful backdrop for what we're talking about, because this is what you do day in, day out, as Susan said. You and I had a nice long conversation. Sure. You've done a lot of really good things for almost 4 years now, right? Mm-hmm. So this is really great, and we're trying to help, and we think that this is the kind of thing that people need, and need it right now, and we want to help. So that's what the program is about. Happy to answer any questions or moderate if you have any questions for anybody else here. Any questions?
I was wondering if the $80,000, is that the only kind of prerequisite, $80,000 or less household income?
Yes. It would be administered by the state treasurer in conjunction with the Department of Community and Economic Development, and there's still some, how you apply and all that kinds of things would have to be worked out, but in general, the only qualification is that you have to have a household income of $80,000 or less.
It sounds like your idea is to give this to people without restrictions. Does
Yes.
that concern you at all, that they might just end up saving it or spending it on things that might not be necessary?
I think we need to trust the people we're giving it to. Again, it's part of a $1.7 billion plan that we've all proposed. There are 5 elements to it. This is one, $500 million. There's another that would go directly to healthcare workers, $325 million. There's about $255 million that would go to small businesses. There is some that would go to sort of a growing greener environmental stuff. During the pandemic, we found people use state parks a lot, and so we need to do things to make sure that the state parks are doing okay. So we have a lot of different programs, and the 5th program is actually just doubling the property tax and rent rebate program, which is already in place. Again, that's designed to help people pay their property taxes or the rent, and I want to basically double that this year using this money. So we want to get money to the people and let them decide how to spend it, what they need, because every family, every individual will have a different need. We want to try to meet that need right now.
Governor, may I?
Yes, yes.
I just wanted to highlight the fact that very often our Republican colleagues will talk repeatedly about that the people know how to spend money better than the government knows how to spend money. And this is a challenge to them to, literally put their money where their mouth is. If that is the case, if that is genuinely what they believe, if that is genuinely what they believe, that the taxpayers can spend their own money better than the government can, then we should trust them to do that, that they know how to spend this $2,000 in a way that will be most beneficial to them. And I think that's really the goal of this program.
Good point. Excellent point. Yes.
When a family that makes under $80,000 is able to get these funds, how is that determined? Is it through the last tax, through their income tax? Because I know with other programs, people's income has been determined by their most recent tax return, but their current work status may have changed, but they're still going by that, the most recent tax return, which is kind of creating issues.
That's a great point, and that detail has not been worked out.
Okay.
But the idea is to sort of say, here's a guideline, and how the state treasurer and the Department of Community and Economic Development determine that. You're right. They need to take into account not just last year's tax return, but what's the situation right now? Yeah, and that changes for people, so they need to take that into account.
Governor, I think I heard you say people could get as much as $2,000. Does that mean there's some sort of gradation?
Yeah.
If I make 20 grand, I'm getting X. If I'm making 50 grand, I'm getting.
The idea is that it's not one size fits all. There might be different people. So someone comes up and says, I really only need $800, and the idea is to try to tailor it to the individual needs. But again, these are the details that have to be worked out. And I should mention the state treasurer is a Republican.
Have you heard from Republicans at all? Any kind of response? Any kind of discussions with them prior to the budget talks?
Yeah, it's been interesting. I don't know what you guys have heard. I just said, we finished the month of May yesterday with a $400 million revenue. So we're going to have a $5 billion surplus just in revenues this year. We're probably looking at an overall surplus of in the $8 to $10 billion range. And I'm not talking about any of that. Last year we had a surplus, and we put most of it, if not all of it, into the rainy day fund. So we have a $3 billion rainy day fund. I'm not talking about that. In addition to all those things, we still have $2.2 billion in American Rescue Plan money. And I think there is now some talk that the Republicans recognize that we ought to get this out. And the question now is how we're going to do it. And so I think it'll happen. This really should not be a controversial thing.
But there's no Republican co-sponsors, I don't think, on either the House or the Senate.
Yeah, this is our idea. The way we laid it out is that this is our idea, and we're open to listening to your idea. Let's just do it. Let's do something. Anything else? All right. Thank you very much, and Senator, Representative, thank you for being here. Senator Acosta, thank you for being here, and Scott, thanks for hosting this.
Thank you for coming.
Really
Appreciate
appreciate this. Thank you, everybody. Summer's here. The Pirates won yesterday.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
I don't know what's the,
Yeah, great.
the secret is. It's Phillies. They're better than the Phillies. Oh, really? It was
I'm actually on staff here.
spend time here too. What do you like best about it?
Thank you. You doing okay yourself? Thanks for having these folks here. Thanks for having Lindsay involved.
We just got the results from the revenue. Gas to groceries is going up. And that's just creating a real inconvenience for everybody. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck, that's more than just an inconvenience. Next week's food or paying next month's rent. Those are decisions people shouldn't have to make. We all see the pain, that pain in communities.
Governor cares for you. Your government cares for you. You are not alone. And for that moment, your needs are met. And so now it's my great privilege to introduce the executive